Yeah, no shit. No. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our uncustomary introduction, where we're giggling like a bunch of maniacs because we can.
Heavy.
Anyway, this week we're doing recommendations, as recommended by the Moniker.
Hello, I'm back again, now that Nurgle's done fucking with me.
For now. We don't know what the future holds there, kid.
Yeah, there's some wood that I can knock on it.
And
There we go.
Kazurkan.
Dying of the plague.
And Darth Blasphemous.
Hail to the dark side and damn these injuries.
And it's me, Game-Goblin. We're going to do some recommendation stuff on today's episode, so if you've made it this far, stay tuned. Here's the intro. Feeling tired at the gaming table? Want to hear foul-mouthed jackasses poke fun at gaming companies when they screw up? Want an honest, street-level opinion from a team of gamers that call it like it is? Then Blunt Force Gamers may be the podcast for you.
Listener discretion advised.
So recommendations. So we're talking about if you like X style of character
Or
X style of
gameplay.
game, that leads into this transitional piece, which is similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if you like Dungeons & Dragons,
3,
I would recommend Skyrim.
2,
Mm-hmm.
1.
Definitely, because that's the best way to get a D&D experience on a video game, and vice versa. If you like Skyrim and you've never tried tabletop, well, then you could try Dungeons & Dragons as one of your first games.
I think that's a really good one to lead with.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
That's why I started with it. Yeah. If you like Warhammer, then you would not like Hello Kitty Adventure Island.
I don't know, maybe if you're into the memes and you like things like the Pretty Marines.
The Pretty Marines.
Or if you're just an Eldar player.
Oh.
So much sparkle paint.
Dude,
Shots fired.
Dude, there was actually a huge thing in the lore. It's like, oh, the next big thing in lore is coming, and everyone, was so excited because it was about the Eldar. Those guys just cannot pull their weight in anything that they do. Like, they got their ass kicked by, like, what was it? Like a Keeper of Secrets. Granted, that is a greater Demon of Slaanesh, but this thing, it couldn't beat Scarbrand, which is one of Khorne's top dogs. It could only go toe-to-toe with him. And this thing gets its ass kicked on the daily by, like, Space Marines. And the Eldar can't even, with all their advanced technology, they can't even match up to that. And this was, like, several factions coming together. They're just... They're
Sad.
such pansies.
So pansy. Well, I would think that if you are a Warhammer 40k player, and if you're not playing the Warhammer 40k role-playing game,
Mm-hmm.
which in its own right, the fucking system is so goddamn convoluted anyway, it's a pain in the ass.
Then again, that whole universe is.
Yeah, it's such a pain. I fell off my vehicle, boom, you took 14 points of lethal damage.
Yeah.
But I'm
sounds about
6
right.
inches off the ground. It doesn't matter. It's in the rules. It's like, really? So I would suggest, though, for a recommendation, if you like 40k, you could always play in the Palladium universe and do some adventures around Center or the Kree Empire
Okay.
or whatever the fuck they call them. I know that Symbieta loves his plagiarism, so a lot of the names are similar. But they do have their own space setting in the Rifts universe. So if you're doing Palladium and you're doing Rifts, then you go into space. They have space armadas and mega damage and super weapons and all that shit. So you can do a 40k translation really easy.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Totally fun. So what would, let's say a player likes Grand Theft Auto 5. What game would you recommend?
D&D Modern.
D20 Modern?
D20 Modern, there you go.
There you go. That was easy.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's the easiest translation overall.
Even if we can get jokes like C4 with a 10-foot blast radius.
I was trying to avoid that.
You know it was going to happen.
I only had to sidestep it.
I just...
And of course we're doing 5d6 points of psychic damage to poor Goblin for this.
Yes, you are. I just... 10-foot blast radius on a pound of C4. Who wrote that fucking book? Did they not ask anybody or research it? We had this wonderful invention called the internet.
Never
At the
heard
time
of
it
it.
was written, it might not have been as prominent.
Okay, I mean, like, if I was back in the 80s, you know, back in a decade that mattered, and I went down to the public library and I'm looking up high-yield explosives, I'm probably going to get some guys in black sunglasses to show up at my front door, start asking questions like, hey, why are you looking up ANFO? Why are you looking up blasting caps and fertilizer? I'm writing a role-playing game, really.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Ted Kaczynski this shit. But hypothetically, with enough fertilizer, you can remove any building. But just go away from my house, please. I'm researching this for a role-playing game. But on the internet, it's
It's much more anonymous.
well, it's not to.
More. Only by the slightest.
It's more common that people are looking this shit up, you know? Like, if you're a role player and they're looking this stuff up, eventually, you know, the feds are going to look at it and be like, oh, this is that guy who was looking up prostitutes and how to manufacture drugs this week, and now he's looking up political dioramas or some shit, and then next week he's looking up high-yield explosives, then he's looking up, you know, ancient Roman architecture. It's obviously a role player. Fuck this guy. Leave him alone.
The only way they would know that's a nerd, because you missed one crucial thing when you're listing off all those things in their search history.
Oh yeah, that's right, because they play like over 6,000 hours a month in like a MMO.
No, not even that. You forgot between each search, between like high-octave explosives and, you know, whatever, like narcotics, trap porn.
Oh yeah, they'd also be looking up unusual trap porn and shit.
Yeah, that's how you tell.
You know, like their Google search history would be like, "Mommy, what's an incel?"
Mommy, what's an incel?
Mommy, what's an incel? So yeah, there is that.
And it goes quiet around the table.
Alright, let's pose this question. Since
I am a Volcel, thank you very much.
you were going to crunch that chair.
I am going to crunch this.
As you were mentioning earlier before we started recording,
Yeah.
better off beaten off.
My goodness.
Thank you, Wheeler Walker Jr., for such a great song.
Please sponsor us.
He's not going to sponsor us, he's country.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm Western. Yeah. We clash.
Alright.
Alright.
Well, speaking of clashes, what do players of a certain archetype, like let's say warlocks,
The Warlock.
what sort of games would a warlock player like? On the other side, so this is going from tabletop RPG back out into the rest of the world.
Oh, well,
Skyrim.
Skyrim.
Again,
Yeah.
Again, you can go with the Spellblade build really easy in that, but if we're going to go into a game similar like that, I would also say Overlord would be really good.
Yeah.
A good
there's a-
classic PlayStation game.
There's a handful of JRPGs where you play a magical girl, so that's basically the same thing.
You could always play, it's an older title, but Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning?
Oh, okay. Now we have to disagree.
Okay.
I am sorry, sir, but Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning,
Yeah.
a shit artist,
I
a
like
hack writer,
Okay.
a dude with too many dreams that even the state couldn't fund, to make one of the most boring games. When Studio 54 shut down, I was like, number one, this sucks because it's somebody's dream going down the fucking flusher.
Yeah.
But on the second hand, the game sucks, and the dev team are a bunch of people who just have really big names and not much substance.
You know what? I think what was...
It's like saying Kingdoms of Amalur is a successful video game in any way, shape, or form is like saying Stephen King is a good horror writer. You want to see horror? Turn on the 5 o'clock fucking news. That's horror right there.
To be fair, though, with both of those guys, I think what Kingdoms of Amalur suffered from, it was just, especially in its...
Too many Irish voice actors doing the fucking fatteries.
Well, yeah, that. I mean...
Well,
you can't really blame them for that, because all of it was, you know, all the, like, from what I recall, like, all the lore was based off of, you know, Irish mythology, because they straight up said, like, the Tuatha Dé, you know, you got, like, the...
And you only needed one fucking button to play.
Yeah, that's true, but, it was also,
Well,
it was just...
It's like, I got used to the controller scheme, you know,
Yeah.
like, fucking doing all the basics when I first started playing the game in some foresty swamp area.
Yeah.
By the time I got to late game, I'm just like, mash the X button. That's it. I'm winning.
Yeah, no, see...
I could have played with a controller and automatically pressed the X button and probably won.
Okay, let me say what I did like about the game, then.
Okay.
Okay, what I did like about the game was... I thought the, how the skill trees worked. That was pretty cool. Not the skill tree, class system. It's been a while, but how you chose what class you went into. That was cool.
And far, like, it was like a fucking MMO.
What's that?
Without the other players.
Yeah.
Like, you could run into a map, and, like, there was this one spot where they had this well that was giving off, like, really good items.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out that if I ran all the way back across the map, exited out, came back into the zone, fought my way to the well, I could loot it again. And the well was only, like, 30 seconds from one zone wall to another. So I was just running back and forth for like an hour and a half, looting the well until I realized it was not giving away anything good. And I'm like, this is like farming in an MMO. This is like playing EverQuest again. I'm after giant eyes. I'm playing for an hour and a half, killing giants, getting fucking nothing.
You know, I never...
So, Kingdoms of Amalur, you can like it all you want.
Okay.
But you are free to be wrong.
On the one hand, I'll take it, but, you know, I will say this, that MMO comparison is actually really accurate for that game.
It felt like a single-player MMO.
Yeah.
Basically.
Alright, I got one for you guys.
Huh.
What about someone that likes to play a bard? What kind of games would they like video game-wise?
Video game-wise, to play a bard?
Dance of the Necro...
A Bard's Tale?
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna say, that's a fucking fun game.
Crypt of the Necrodancer.
There's also Rhythm of Hyrule, which is basically the same thing for Zelda setting.
Yeah.
It's on the Switch.
You know, I'll go out on a limb here and I'll...
Parappa the Rappa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm joking there.
Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero. There's
I'm a rock band player, like, you
Rock
know,
band.
a gentleman.
Alright, still on the same topic. There's a game called Eastshade. You play as a painter. It's mostly a peaceful game. But it's very bardic in that way, because you're basically finding things to snapshots with a camera lens, and then your master painter just kind of does a little animation, and then the pictures are there.
If you're a bard player on the tabletop, you would easily get into Splatoon then.
Wait.
I was thinking Minecraft.
I was also thinking...
Well, here's what I'm thinking about Minecraft, right? If you're playing a bard, not a lot of games out there actually allow you to be like the music maker guy himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of music making games. For example, they had one on
Mario Maker Studio.
Yeah, the Modern Music Studio.
I said Mario Music Studio.
Well, there's
for,
Mario
like, the
Music
SNES.
There's a bunch of them anyway. What I'm going on here is if you're playing Minecraft, you go out and get yourself a shit ton of different blocks.
Mm-hmm.
You set up a giant redstone circuit
Mm-hmm.
and do it old school. Like each note set at a specific time, and you basically do like those fucking weirdos who have way too much goddamn time and build a computer that's just a glorified calculator.
Yeah.
In Minecraft.
With creepers crawling all over it.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen those dudes.
It's a glorified TI-82 in a fucking 64-bit world. But if you're a bard player and you're playing it more for the making of actual music, I mean, Minecraft would challenge you to no end. Because each block is a different note, then you have to line up those notes, then you have to do the redstone circuits to get that note to fire in a specific interval, and do this over and over and over and over again until you actually create a giant piano. So if you have too much time on your hands...
Minecraft is a good way to do it.
Minecraft is a great way to waste your time being a bard. Look what I made, Mom! Bing, bing, bong! Yay! That's 2 months of my life gone. I would also say games like Saints Row are good if you're playing a bard character in a sort of way, because you can dress up like a bard.
The dubstep gun.
The dubstep gun. Hey, it's got mods on it, so you can run around blasting people with classical.
Nice.
So, you know, here's some Tchaikovsky for you motherfuckers.
Tchaikovsky with his cannons as instruments.
No.
Bang, bang!
That would be something fucked up, man. Like, dress up like Ludwig van Beethoven with a dubstep gun and just shoot people with classical.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
I could also see, certain titles like The Witcher being a good one for the bard. Reason being, it does have an actual art of seduction that you can play to throughout the game.
True.
And it's a fantastic game anyway, so.
Yeah. What's something other than bards? We got hung up on bards here.
I know, we got hung up
Cleric?
on bards.
Cleric?
Nobody wants to play the healer.
I mean,
There was that surgery game for
Oh.
DS.
Actually, no. Wait.
Oh, yeah, Trauma
There's-
Center.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, for Cleric, there's actually one that's perfect. I don't know how far I can get away with talking about this game, so fuck it, I'm gonna go full tilt.
Alright.
But there is a third-party game, and by third-party, I mean developed non-lawfully as possible, and the whole point of the game is as non-lawful as possible.
Okay.
Okay, when we get into that murky waters of legality, this is in the silt at the bottom for murkiness.
Okay.
Alright? It is a Taliban simulator!
Oh, god damn it. I think I...
Where you go out and you commit acts of, here in America they call it terrorism, of course, but you go out, you commit...
Pretend we're on CNN. It would be freedom fighting?
Oh, yes, so they fight freedom. They would be out committing acts of freedom fighting in the name of their glorious over deity, and you drive buses through schools and shit, and then explode at the end.
Was it... Is the game you're thinking of the one that was pretty much like a ROM hack based off of an American-made game? Like, what was it?
Like
What?
Splinter Cell or some shit?
Yeah.
it was
there
based
was...
off of a really popular one. It was a hack. But if you want to play a cleric, there you go.
Wait, don't forget about all those super Christian games that came out where you got to play as crusaders during the Great Crusades.
Oh my god, dude!
Great Crusades. Excuse me.
That's what they were
they were labeled this.
It just when I was working at Nintendo way back in the day, actually that was like one of the biggest problems we had is people would call into the helpline and say their game isn't working. And I'd be like, okay, which title is it? And it'd be like something like Noah's Ark Bible Adventures. Because for some reason religious people have to, try to force their shit into everything. And I'll be like, I'll sit there on the bar, I'm like, we can't help you with this game, it's not one of ours. And they would be like, well, the case looks like one of yours, the sticker's one of yours, and I'm like, it's not one of ours. It's a pirated game. It was made illegally for the system. And they're like, Christians wouldn't do anything illegal. And I'd be like, oh my god. Which my god happens to be the Tiki Monkey.
What's his name?
He's the Tiki Monkey.
Alright.
He's a luck monkey. Some days he just sits on my shoulder and shits down my back, and then rubs it on my face. And other days, he's really awesome and pats me on the head and points out shiny coins on the ground so I can actually eat lunch. He's a luck monkey. Some days good, some days bad. Just don't try to fuck with the Tiki Monkey, because he will fuck with you.
Ook ook.
He will bite your face off.
And give you AIDS.
Exactly, stupid monkey.
Stupid monkey.
Yeah, for that kind of stuff, though, if you want to play a cleric, pretty much any D&D title.
Yeah.
For example, we got Kingmaker out right now. I'm not too enthused with that title, the ISO viewpoint of it, and holy shit, it does not like monks.
I got a good video game recommendation if you like clerics and stuff. Dark Souls is really good for that. For the while in Dark Souls 3, I think going clerics and miracles was the meta. But
I thought it was Archer.
Oh no. It was for Dark Souls 3 anyway, it was well, at least since I've been last played it, it was still Miracle Caster. It's their cleric class, it uses miracles in they're pretty much the holy spellcaster instead. So you use faith instead of intelligence, and it's all lightning. And you can join in different covenants, and either like the remnants of the gods or Oh, it's been so long. I apologize.
See, now that's starting to sound like Paladin almost. Ka-fucking Smite.
Well, most games, Paladin would be
the two.
closer. Like, to go back on The Witcher is in his own right a Paladin.
Yeah, he's
out slaying evil with this shiny holy sword of silver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, would that
Ironically
make all the
enough, I think-
Castlevania games Paladin?
Castlevania, yeah, kinda, sorta. Then again, if you also like games with a lot of deep, immersive, just layers within layers within layers of shit sandwich in, you have Vampire the Masquerade, or Vampire the Requiem as it is now. I would say 2nd or 3rd edition, anything after that's shit, especially 5th. 5th is just a fucking freak show. And if you're going on the video game side as far as recommendations, if you like layers within layers within layers, you go for a real-time strategy game.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
much any RTS
Or Grand Strategy.
or grand strategy like Civ.
Oh,
they're
God.
more
Crusade.
expanded ones, with they just got layers of shit.
Crusader Kings 2.
Stellaris.
Stellaris, the Three Kingdoms.
Oh, yeah, the China one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
Dynasties? Is that what
It's
you-
not
Dynasty
Dynasty.
Warriors.
It's
Middle Kingdom? Is that what it's called?
I think it's War of Three Kingdoms.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I remember hearing that title.
But those are games that have layers within layers within layers within layers of just crazy shit. And so if you're doing one of those RTS games and you want to try rolling dice, and you like layers upon layers upon layers of shit, you get into a game that's very politically oriented, politically themed, like Vampire. And every NPC has something going on, and it all weaves together in this giant, tangled cobweb.
Yeah, it's
So either way, you've got plenty of content to fuck around with.
Yeah. Or Crusader Kings 2. That game is pretty much all about political intrigue and Europe and
so it falls
Dynasties.
Into it falls into that same grand strategy. Same with Hearts of Iron, Stellaris, and a few others that I know of. Most of which through Paradox.
Yeah.
But Stellaris does fantastically. It's like taking all the aspects of, multiple tiers of management into space. It's
Okay.
like when you're dealing with Stellaris, you're dealing with your planets, you're dealing with the star systems, you're dealing with your star bases and fleets, all of which you can design, more or less, or at least manage what buildings are placed as the populations grow. And then there's like 9 resources.
Yeah, resource management games don't translate very well into role-playing for the most part, but they work. They can work.
Yeah, those tend to be like wizards, and specifically maker wizards.
Oh yeah.
At
all
the
the
same note,
crafters.
I would have to say, though, if you also want to translate from JRPGs to tabletop, the translation is just so fucking smooth, it's just disgusting. Like, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy, say 7, 8, 9, 10, I would say those 4, that block right there especially. And I'll even say 12 on top of that, before we get into the shit Final Fantasy games. 12 is edging on it. I know a lot of people hate on Pinello, but I love her. It's just my bag.
I like Cabranth.
Of course you like a Branth.
Yeah.
You homoerotic fuck. Anyway, if you're playing one of these JRPGs and you decide to play a tried and true Western role-playing game, it translates really well because you also have the class structure, you have different jobs for different characters. Like, our group right now, if we were to get into a D&D game, we'd have our fighter, mage, thief, cleric, our basic 4. And when you're playing Final Fantasy, of course, you got Cloud Strife. He's the brute.
He's the front line.
He's the frontline guy. Barrett's kind of secondary guy. And for your sneak thief, there's always Yuffie.
Yeah.
Yuffie's a great sneak thief. And then, of course, you're going to need your secondary healer once bad shit happens. Spoiler alert, Eris dies.
Is killed.
Is killed. Wait, it's been 25 years. Is it still spoiler-worthy?
No.
It's too late. You've already put it there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Eris dies, or Aerith. But at the same time, you're in these games, when you have 8, you basically designate who's going to be the primary brutalizer, which is usually Squall. You'll have, Quistis as healer, I guess. Actually, Renault is a better healer, but she's also a great damage dealer. But still, at the same token, you get where I'm going, is each character has a different role within the party. You know, like, my last group in 8, Renault was the healer, Squall was the damage dealer, and Zell was the thief. So I had my basic 4 right there, and then, of course, when I moved into Final Fantasy X, each one of those guys had their own damage dealing. Of course, you got Auron. Yeah, damage, he's got it. Mm-hmm. The main character sucks in comparison.
Quistis and Tifa give me something to look at.
I've always been more for Quistis. School teacher with a bullwhip, hot blonde with glasses, knee-high boots. How could you go wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, Quistis is pretty much just MILF material.
She's not a MILF, she's 18.
Is she really?
Uh-huh.
Aesthetically, she's MILF material.
Aesthetically, she's MILF material, but during the game, she's like 18.
Huh.
Now, if you want MILF material, that would be Adia.
Yeah.
And, you know, for storylines that require a lot of thinking, so if you're playing a dice game that requires a lot of thinking, there's always Paranoia, Vampire the Masquerade, Dungeons and Dragons, depending on, you know, how your GM's running shit. Pathfinder, lots of thinking in those games. At the same token, if you want a lot of thinking about background and storyline development, and you just want your head to explode, try figuring out the storyline from point A to point Z in Final Fantasy VII without having your head implode. Or when you're playing Final Fantasy VIII, think about time compression. When you're playing Final Fantasy IX, shit, for deep immersive stories that really get you by the fucking heartstrings, there's always Vivi.
Oh, little Vivi.
Yeah, you ever play the game till the post-credits?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you want to cry? There you go.
Okay.
Watch the game, play the game till the post-credits, and let them reveal what happens to Vivi after you beat the final boss.
I'm gonna sound like a fake now, saying oh, poor Vivi, and then saying I haven't played until the credits.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I lost my PSP for, like, years.
Alright. So I'm going to pass one out to you guys now that I've dominated the microphone for a little while.
Uh-huh.
If somebody's playing The Sims, what role-playing game would they want to play? Huh?
Sims.
Hey, The Sims is hella popular.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we can also probably lump it in with things like Spore, which is like the make a creature from the same people. I would say if you want to do The Sims, D20 Modern, because it has a lot, like the first 3 levels of being in that campaign, in that world, that universe, that system, is basically just being a grown-ass adult. It is quite literally being a grown-ass adult at level 3. Yeah.
I don't play video games so I can be a grown-ass adult.
I mean, it's just part of why people like The Sims, is that you can fulfill the fantasy of owning a home, having a steady job, having a family that you choose,
having a job that I can work at, unless I do really shitty or I quit.
Pretty much.
But it's always there. And I get promotions. I can get a promotion at my job for doing good work.
Yeah. These are all fantasies that The Sims lives out.
Yeah, it's
D20
not like a
Modern
lateral
has
promotion
that.
from fry cook to dishwasher.
It's not a promotion.
Is that how that works?
Dude, okay. And for The Sims, and this is a little bit of real life, and I know they don't listen at work, so haha. The CEO of my company has just gotten a lateral promotion to head of maintenance.
Huh.
They called it a promotion. CEO to head of maintenance.
I mean, promotion does.
This is something that doesn't
than
happen in
demoted.
Sims. You don't get downgraded unless you do really, really badly. But, yeah. This guy's been CEO for almost 2 decades. Yeah. Uh-oh. Blasphemous is being really quiet. What if I was...
I'm trying to construct the idea here of running all that. I mean, part of that, if you're going for the whole, you know, control of life, running through stuff, I mean, maybe if you just get really deep into...
Told you were going to crunch
And there was a chair break on the microphone.
How?
I don't know.
Congratulations, listeners. More weird noises ensue.
That did show a pretty nice little rectangle there.
Yeah, I made a really nice rectangle on our audio recorder.
I fucking called it too. You were gonna crunch the chair.
I got them for free. It doesn't matter.
Okay, Blasphemous, how about this? What if I wanted to play a role-playing game, okay? So, I sit down with my friends with books and dice, and I want to play a role-playing game, but it has dinosaurs I can recruit into my own army in like a primeval world and take on fantastical boss creatures like dragons and manticores. What role-playing game would I play?
Well, really, we can't keep going back to D&D because it all depends on what your GM does. You know, you could totally run one of those primeval worlds where it's survival and you can go through all this stuff and get a friggin', T-Rex mount. But, from playing Ark Online, translating into a tabletop, like, the bounds are pretty endless there for a lot of different systems. It all depends on what your storyteller GM does.
Oh yeah? How about we just remove what my storyteller does and just get right down to brass tacks of game system? Once again, I bring up my favorite plagiarist, Kevin Symbieta. I go to World Book, whatever the fuck, Dinosaur Swamps of Florida. I'm playing Rifts. I get myself book number whatever the fuck, the Big Book of Boom, Naruni book. I get myself some Naruni tech. I head out to the swamps of Florida. Bam! I got shock collars for dinosaurs that, like, mind wipe them. Pow! Dinosaur army built in and baked in the system itself. Cool. And I could probably do this with GURPS, too. And GURPS is that one that, like, if everybody is sitting around and they're playing, like, the same fucking game, doing it like an MMO or doing a LAN party, whatever. Even though LAN parties, I just dated myself.
No, I got you. I got that in reference too.
Okay.
We actually did those when I was a kid, but that's because we were poor.
I mean, we did that when I was a kid too.
It's not LAN party until people start bringing milk crates. Anyhow, if everybody's playing the same game, let's say all of us are doing GTA 5 online, which is basically playing the Purge online.
It is.
GURPS has a book for it somewhere. If we're all playing fucking League of Legends, tower defense fucking game, GURPS has a book for it somewhere.
The operative word in that phrase there being if we're playing League of Legends, because
if
there's no reason to touch that game with a pole.
I wouldn't even touch that game with a stolen dick. Okay, that's just my that's where I'm at. All right. So, regardless of what game you're playing, if you're playing a video game with a bunch of your friends, if you're all doing that one in space that everybody loves so much that I forgot the name of because I didn't love it so much. Basically, all you do is fly around in a pod and build shit and collect resources. Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about.
No Man's Sky?
No.
No, not No Man's Sky. This is pre-No Man's Sky.
MMO?
It's an MMO.
EVE Online?
Yeah, EVE Online.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, if you
Freelancer? They're both about the same.
Yeah, they're both about the same. What I'm trying to say, though, is if you got a group of friends and you're all playing the same game online and you want to do it, like, in an offline setting with actual storylines that you build and shit, GURPS has probably got a book for it. The Generic Universal Roleplay System, developed by Steve Jackson Games, a guy so successful, his name is on the company. Take that, Bill Gates. It's not Bill Gates or soft.
Bill Gates.
Just saying.
Only his wife can confirm that.
I'm not gonna ask Millennia a question or whatever the Melanona, whatever the fuck.
It's neither here nor there.
Winona.
Melania.
I don't know her name.
It's hardly relevant to this immediate discussion.
There's richer people out there to pay attention to now. Take that, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, definitely when it comes to stuff like that, there's some pretty easy translations. Like, if you're a Star Wars fan, there's the Star Wars RPG. That's
one of several.
Yeah, straight across.
Raul Partha for the win? Or was it? Whatever.
Go.
But Star Trek, if you're like a Star Trek fan, do they even have an RP system?
But I think they have an RP system. The problem with Star Trek, though, is here's my problem with Star Trek as a role-playing game. and most games, like, fuck, the mobile titles are so wildly off base. Wildly off base. Because as far as story is concerned, your phasers are the last resort. Absolutely. You encounter a hostile life form, your phasers are primarily for defense only. Right? And anytime you encounter something, it's a game about exploration and diplomacy and making new friends and everybody's being buddy-buddy, and there's no currency system, but there is a currency system somehow, whatever. It is the commie socialist, whatever fucking utopia, where everything is made by replicators. You don't really have needs all that much unless the replicator breaks.
And at that point, you've got 2 or 3 guys who can fix it, and boom,
Yeah.
you're gone.
Yeah, and the primary storyline of Star Trek is supposed to be missions of peace and diplomacy.
Mm-hmm.
Most players aren't into that. They want the big booms. They're like, fuck that, I'm playing Klingon side.
Yeah.
They'd rather play Klingons who are, they're about war. They would rather play Romulans who are about intrigue. Or Ferengis who are,
Commerce.
about making sure their borders stay closed on their planet while everybody else has open borders.
Can you play as Borg?
Borg?
That's what they call it, isn't it? I don't know how Jack.
Borg. Yeah.
You can't play a Borg unless you're like a rogue Borg, probably, but
Or it's or you have to find some concocted real reason.
yeah.
Because I know, like, 7 of 9, I think, is a
Yeah,
Borg. That's
she was
basically-
reprogrammed.
Well, she was
I can't remember if
she was
reprogrammed.
unplugged from the Matrix.
Basically, she was differentiated from, and so too was
But
Locutus
yeah,
when,
most of
Picard got it.
the games that come out for Star Trek, especially on the video game side, there's only one that I played that actually was any good, and it was a Star Trek game on the original NES system. And it was more like a game called Shadows Gate, also on the NES system. I also recommend that game if anybody ever wants a puzzler. It's like Myst before Myst became anger-inducing. Anywho, Star Trek most of the games nowadays, they're mostly shoot 'em up, pow-pows, build your ship, put bigger weapons on it. The MMO, that's primarily what it was. The first 20 levels, you're just going up in levels, and all of your campaigns where you get into a fight with something is, of course, you're defending, which isn't true, because I'm there looking for a fucking fight. I'm like, ooh, look! Klingon escorts! Fuck them! All bow before the power of Nurg!
So you were playing as Janeway then?
No, I was playing as Nurg. World Dominator. He got into Starfleet on a technicality. He was short.
what race was he?
Actually, I went with Nurg, I went with the custom race. And the fucked up part, here's the truly fucked up part, okay? One of the things that translates really well from Western RPGs and Japanese RPGs to role-playing games is character creation and customization. Right? I mean, you just create whatever the fuck you want. This is my character. And some games, especially games like City of Heroes, City of Villains, they encapsulate this really well. And you fucking Skyrim? How wide do I want my nose bridge to be? Holy shit. Talk about levels of customization. And of course there's mods if you don't like how pointy your chin is. You just take it to whole new levels. And fucking on Star Trek, they did this. The custom character generator, you could go buck-ass wild. And my first character, I spent like 3 hours just on the character select screen, making every fucking thing perfect. Perfect!
You should share this character when we're done recording.
My Andorian, my first character was an Andorian female. Of course, I got 4 genders. Legit, by the lore.
Okay.
Okay, this isn't, XY. They actually have like XY, XXZ, XY, NLMNOPO. But they got 4 genders, like one opens the canal way, another one inseminates, another one impregnates. It's this weird collage of slime and sex.
I like to think that in someone's creative universe that there's a race that you need a foursome just to reproduce.
Well,
That's just...
Andorians were created by him, the original Star Trek dude. He's dead. His name doesn't matter anymore. He's dead.
It does matter. I'm looking it up.
Jerry's dead. Get a job. Anyway.
Pool's closed.
Pool's closed. Anyway, I spent like 3 hours on this fucking Andorian character, getting every fucking absolute thing perfect. Height, weight, proportion, facial features. No one ever said a fucking thing.
Gene Roddenberry.
I had already buried the body and buried the name too. Fuck you. Anyway. One of the things I did, and I was on the roleplay server for a while, and I did the Starfleet uniform, but instead of the standard colors, I went with gray. Only one role player ever figured out what the fuck that meant. I was like, kudos to you, dude. Props.
What does it mean?
Okay, when you're going by New School, of course, because they switched some of the colors around, red is command, blue is medic, green used to be science ops, yellow is engineering. I went with gray because that's internal affairs. So I show up on Deep Space Nine wearing a Starfleet uniform that's black and gray. And like then a lot of people there are role-playing and emoting and shit, and I show up, and one of the guys is like, shush! IA is here. And I just walk over to the bar, order a drink from Quark, have a couple of drinks, pop out my scanner, scan a few people, and nobody says a fucking thing, except one guy gives me, he emotes with a funny look, and the other guy's like, shush! Don't fuck with IA. And then I just walk towards the door, I'm like, I type in open chat, have a nice day, and leave. So, that was fun to do on role-playing. But Nerg, when we get to it, I had no ideas. I just knew that my other character, because when you start out in Star Trek, you start with your ship, and you get one of 3 choices, and the choice that I went with my ship was an escort. I wanted fucking full force damage dealer. And so when I created Nerg, I shrunk him down as far as I could. Tiny little legs, tiny little torso, super long arms, super long fingers. Made him gray. He had like these weird knobs on his head. I made his head just as oversized as fucking possible. Like 70% of his body weight was head. Giant black eyes. And I just like run around and be like, bow before the power of Nerg! And of course I had my little ray gun because I had special guns because of my collector's edition. So I had a ray gun to go with it. And so yes, I made a legit Martian. His name was Nerg Eitel Nitrum, which backwards was Green Little Martian. And I would run around all over the place screaming that I was going to probe people and kidnap cows and all sorts of shit. Everywhere I went, people loved that character. Like somebody be on a mission, I'd zone in on the same spot, I'd be like, bow before the power of Nerg! They do not know the might of Nerg's massive escort ship! And people would just start cracking up laughing, and I'd just fly right in. Just like, they'd still be prepping and shit, I'm like, the enemy will be caught unaware if I attack them before I'm ready! Fly in and start attacking. Everybody loved Nerg. And like even when I was sitting around, I'd go AFK and come back, from like eating dinner or whatever, and people would like compliment me on my looks. Nerg took me all of about 20 minutes to make. God damn it! But if there's any moral to the story, games like Star Trek Online, games like Saints Row, especially Saints Row. If you like character customization and you just like to play your own person, go for that. Especially if you're used to playing on tabletop, where you customize everything. And like my character's got heterochromia and he's missing a tooth.
Yeah.
There are games that allow for this kind of shit now, like where your character's blind in one eye. Elder Scrolls Online.
Mm-hmm.
Licks the windows. He's blind in the right eye, but he's an archer build. Hence the name Licks the Windows.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a tabletop game and you want to play a game that allows for a lot of character customization, read and review on these. I would actually suggest ESO. It's a very robust game, lots of layers, tons of character customization. It's not Nerg, but it's Licks the Windows. He gets the job done. He has just got to aim with the wrong eye. So his shots are a little bit down and to the right.
Better hope he's not aiming for the guy next to you.
Exactly.
All right. What about puzzler games? We mentioned them. We kind of touched on it, like Portal or Myst, or similar idea. What sort of games do you think other players would enjoy?
Tetris.
Chill.
Well, of course.
Paranoia.
But puzzler games,
Mario, or not Mario, Luigi's Mansions, because all those are puzzles.
Teenagers from Outer Space. That could be a puzzler.
any of the classic Legend of Zelda games, those are great puzzle games.
Oh yeah, Legend of Zelda. The problem with playing a puzzler in role-playing terms is most of the time your players won't get it, even if it is super obvious. Like, connect all the squares by drawing only 3 lines. You know, it's just like, oh! Everybody just suddenly, like, brain farts, even if it's like Jeopardy. Okay? When people are doing a puzzler at a role-playing game, like, any of us can sit around and watch Jeopardy all night long and guess half of the shit right. They'd be like, oh, it's a pound of this. Oh, flesh. Woo, werewolves for 200. What is a pound of flesh? Chick who flips the numbers? I don't know. I stopped paying attention. But anyway, what I'm saying is people, like, sitting there casually looking at this shit, wildly intelligent. But imagine actually being on the stage and being under pressure, having people there sitting next to you who are not allowed to give you the answer or nudge you. Like, you know, like when the GM says, oh, you gotta figure this puzzle out on your own. You can't dialogue with the other players. They're not in the room with you.
Yeah.
You're on the spot. Your brain suddenly goes, grrr!
Yeah. Yeah, that's happened to
everyone, pretty much.
Yeah, that happens to everyone. It seems to happen a lot with our party over in Blasphemous' campaign here, but...
If we ever get to play again.
Yeah.
Hey, I need to talk to you about that after.
People who annoy you. Okay? Randy should have got it right. It was the letter A, not the letter I. But he was on the spot. I'm sure if he was sitting at home watching Jeopardy, he'd be like, oh, naggers. And he would have got it right, and that episode of South Park would be a lot less funny. Just saying that when you're on the spot, puzzlers don't translate very well into the Dyson Books category. That's dead.
There's also other games too. Descent, Dark Caverns, or something like that.
Oh, you're talking about the board game?
Sorry.
The board game / half-ass roleplay game?
You know, if someone likes puzzler's a good one, is Limbo. That's a good one.
Limbo's a good puzzler, definitely.
Yeah.
Mag Runner, Dark Pulse. Sorry. It's a similar idea to Portal, but it's the idea of using magnetism instead of matter transfer in portals.
Well, there's also the thing, you know, that who here with a portal gun would not shoot one wall in front of them and one wall behind them, stand in between themselves, and see what it feels like to, you know, touch yourself inappropriately, hands-free.
I'd totally do that.
Nope, not a chance in hell.
I totally would.
It's not gay if you're doing it to yourself.
At that point, it's masturbation.
At that point, if it's a clone, is it incest?
There is a lot of weirdness that goes into that question, too.
Yes, it is incest. Because of the way the cellular regeneration works. By the time you got around to actually doing it, most of the cells will be refreshed, and within 6 months, it'd be an absolutely different person with your face.
So, another question then. What about, like, if you like to play the Call of Cthulhu RPG, what are good games besides Cthulhu-esque games?
I got this Bloodborne. Bloodborne takes heavily from, like, Lovecraftian, very much gothic horror. You know, the whole aesthetic is kind of set in, you know, kind of your standard Victorian England. You know, there's like the tainted blood that's cursed the town of Yarnum. You know, the people are affected by not only the cursed blood and turning into monsters, but that there's, you know, deities that come from the moon. It's, that'd be a good game for any Cthulhu lovers out there.
I'd also say Vampire Bloodlines, if you're into the classics.
Yeah.
Most of the story revolves around the Enkar and sarcophagus. And of course, shit gets kind of weird near the end, and the combat side of it especially. But as far as storyline side, like, everybody is speculating all the way up till the end of the game. What's in the Ankaran sarcophagus? And the way they actually end the game, it is lore, but it isn't lore at the same time, so it still leaves you going, well, it depends on what answer I give at the very end of the game. Who do I side with? Kind of chooses what's inside the Ankaran sarcophagus, but up to that point, it's just this huge mystery. And Cthulhu, especially when you're playing the tabletop game, there's a lot of research and mystery and puzzle solving and trying to find your way to the big-ass monster at the end of it. But the entire adventure always asking, is it really what I'm thinking it is?
Yeah.
So there is that.
Yeah.
Again, Mag Runner.
Or Parasite Eve, if you're also into PlayStation Classics.
Oh yeah, Parasite Eve would be a good one. Yeah. Would you say Silent Hill, or is that too easy?
I think that's falling more into the zombie trope.
No, Silent Hill is more the hell trope.
Yeah, I mean the first game that was it's been a while, but that dealt with cultists, didn't it?
Agree.
That just struck me as a good one for anyone who is a cleric. You might like any of those zombie games, because what's the number one ability a lot of clerics have? Turn undead.
Yeah, well, in most zombie games nowadays, turn undead is called shotgun.
Yeah.
Turn undead into more dead.
Yeah.
Turn undead, lawnmower blade.
Yeah.
Die, stay dead. I mean, if you want a zombie game, boom, State of Decay, you're done.
Yeah.
There's so fucking many of them out nowadays that just pick one and you've played them all.
More or less. I mean, there's only some of them that I even have differing mechanics these days.
Well, Left 4 Dead was a, brand new idea at its time of an actual survival co-op game.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead back in the day, that was fun. But, just kind of going on what you guys are saying about the oversaturation, like I was just looking at the Switch's, online store, and one of the games on there was actually titled, it was something like Another Zombie Survival Game. And I get that they're going for, an ironic title, but,
when it encapsulates the entire game.
Yeah, when it encapsulates the entire game and they're not actually doing anything that breaks that formula, you're just kind of falling. You're making a joke out of yourself.
Yeah, it's like when you're going through the App Store on your phone and it's like another life simulator.
Yeah.
Another MMO. Another card collector.
Yeah,
they have them listed as that.
Yeah, all I thought when I saw that was, well, glad to know what you're all about, and I will not be purchasing. There was one, actually, cool game that I want to get. It's only $5, so of course I'm not expecting, fucking Skyrim from this thing. But it looked kind of cool. It was done in the style of, like, PlayStation 1 era graphics. It's called Sagebrush, and it's about going onto, like, a Waco, Texas-esque cult compound after they all drank the Kool-Aid and trying to piece together what happened. It looks really creepy and really cool, so...
At that point, it's more of a mystery game.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, I don't know, that could be kind of Cthulhu-y, what with cults and...
Or Legacy of King.
Like what's that?
Or the Legacy of King series.
Yeah.
Good. The first game was really flimsy, but they kept building on the myth lore with each subsequent game.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's lay down an easy one. Barbarians.
Oh, Barbarians! Oh, that is so easy.
God of War.
Yeah.
God of War. Conan Exiles.
Yeah.
Yep. Seriously, dude, you were going to wind up on the floor with that thing.
I'm going to move this chair real quick.
Yeah. Oh my god, that chair is so super fucked.
Yeah. I just touched the leg, that's all I did. It's going right over here.
Excuse Moniker while he runs away to deal with chair issues.
That chair couldn't handle this much, man. But
well, I mean, the chair was built in like the 50s, so that's back when people weighed half as much as all of us.
yeah, that's fair. I need to lose some weight. I think a good game for Barbarian, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. You go in as Jack Raiden. He's kind of become a little more unhinged, both literally and figuratively. And that entire game, it introduced a system where you kind of go into like a slow-mo when you get real close to an enemy, and you can just turn them into sashimi right there with your sword, rip out their organ that has all of like their electrolytes, crush in your hand, boom, you heal yourself by butchering your fellow man.
Oh, there's one actually, and when we do this a lot at the game table, and sometimes we don't get to do it, and some gyms give us special dispensation, like when you roll a critical. Describe your action in detail, hit for hit, as you take down the enemy, right? A lot of times, ooh, my character charges in, swings his sword, and he's going to go for, like, a lateral slice on the torso, and the GM's like, shut up. You're just rolling the hit, roll your D20. And a lot of us like to try to get in there and, do these, super power combos and describe every action. Which brings me to another game that was oft overlooked. It's called Wet.
Well, was good.
With the bullet
Wet.
time. So you got a little bit of your action Hollywood sequence shit going on. You jump through a window, you do the slow-mo, dive, pull out both guns, and you're sliding along the wall, and you just, pop, 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 pop. There you go. You're in full control of the action at the moment.
Back in the day when they actually had innovation every year at E3.
Innovation? E3? Man, it's been a while.
Yeah.
If you guys like that one, what you're saying with what Super Hot, that's another cool one that you go for.
Yeah,
totally.
Super hot. Another good one is Prototype. And
Prototype's fun.
Prototype's really fun.
Have they had any recent games
There's
in
Prototype
recent years?
2, but I don't know if there's another one past that.
Okay.
Well, we're getting there to final thoughts. Final recommendations just in general for gaming. I feel that would be a good way to end this one.
All right.
I would say don't be afraid to listen to recommendations from your friends. I got turned on to Darkest Dungeon because I had talked up another game called Errata's Lord of the Dead to my boss, who's like, I'm getting this Darkest Dungeon vibe, and if you like this Errata's game, I'm pretty sure you are going to love the crap out of Darkest Dungeon. He was absolutely right.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to me. I was playing a bunch of games, and I've never really liked the isometric third camera down point of view. And I went over to a friend's place. No, sorry. Different thoughts colliding in head. Anyway, I went to a friend's place, and we were doing a gaming kind of dry spell. So I wasn't getting my D&D on for quite some time. And he shows me this game called Oblivion, and I'm like, holy fuck, that will fill the void. And this was back when Bethesda had some bit of reputation that was still good. And I started playing Oblivion, and next 500 hours of my life went away. So I would recommend, definitely, if a friend recommends a game or you see a game being played and it looks interesting, you might find a treasure that you were not expecting, because Oblivion spoiled me, and then I moved on to Skyrim, and that style of gameplay is predominantly what I look for first, that first-person, massive world, I can do whatever I want, it's my own adventure kind of game.
Yeah.
So, never know what you're going to find. That's how I discovered Mass Effect. Same way. Went to another friend's place, and he showed me a little bit of gameplay, and I was like, holy fuck! I'm in. And the same goes for tabletop games. Sometimes, a guy might be playing a game, and it doesn't sound like it's going to ring with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Rifts wouldn't ring with most people. If you really look through the rules and shit and take a good deep look at it, you might be like, this isn't my groove. But on the other hand, don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like
5th edition sucks.
Carry on.
Just to reiterate. My final thoughts? I think I'll leave with a game recommendation.
Hello Kitty's Adventure Island.
Damn it. Stole it.
I did.
No. Let's see. I really like Bloodborne, man. I mean, especially since it's getting towards that time of year for, scary and horror and stuff. Yeah, and especially since, bringing up Cthulhu. It's just a great game. It's been out for a couple of years. You can probably get it for real cheap. Try it out. And the difficulty is really high, so it gives you a nice good challenge.
Well, speaking of Cthulhu real quick,
Yeah.
if you happen to get a hold of some of the writings from the Cthulhu Mythos stuff, especially the things written in unpronounceable languages, since we live here in the Pacific Northwest, next time you take a ferry over to the islands or go over to the peninsula, just whip that out and start reading it on deck among your friends. It'll fuck with them, trust me.
Yeah.
I'm trying that next time I go over to Whidbey.
There you go. We did this one time. We were going on the ferry. It was middle of night, and I look over at the bow of the ship, and I'm like, "Hey, you know they never said that he is specifically in R'lyeh. He
Yeah.
can be anywhere. It sure is dark down there." Yeah, spoopy.
Alright, I gotta say, for my final thoughts, when it comes to translating your likes to different games, branch out, just start YouTubing different game stuff, and if it comes down to it, just GM for yourself out of a D&D, Pathfinder, D20, whatever, and just get some people to play a game, you know. Be ready to try stuff, but don't be afraid to run something if you're having a hard time finding someone to run what you want to do. You know, just have fun with it.
As much fun as possible. Game-Goblin, out.
Kazurkan, back to the skies.
Moniker, bye.
Hail to the dark side. This is Darth Blasphemous ending transmission.
Freedom for Hong Kong.